Good morning and welcome to NETBLASTER Daily. And of course, let's take a look at what is trending in football this morning. A whole lot on the plate. Ademola Lookman is in the news. Isak is in the news with Newcastle United. And of course, the PFA Awards that took place last night. Real Madrid also starting their season with a 1-0 victory over Osasuna. Not really a fantastic display, but at least they got the job done in the La Liga debut of Xabi Alonso as manager of Real Madrid. So let's get into the news. This is the NETBLASTER Daily. So starting with Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman is back to Atalanta's training ground following the collapse of his proposed move actually, to Inter Milan. Ademola Lookman actually wanted to join Inter Milan after they tendered around 45 million euros bid for him, which also included some performance-related bonuses. But Atalanta is coming out to say that that money is not big enough. They want a higher money, and even if they're going to sell him for any higher amount, it's not going to be to any team in Italy, which automatically cancels Inter Milan's intentions, because Atalanta is not willing to sell to any team in Italy, and this has actually angered the reigning African Player of the Year, talking about Ademola Lookman, who came out publicly to tender his transfer request to Atalanta, saying that he wants to leave. And according to him, they actually reneged on their promise that they made to him. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. He is back right now. In fact, he got angry and decided to go to UK to do some training by himself and didn't join the team's training. But right now, as the deal is not really happening, he has returned to Italy, and we don't know how everything is going to pan out to do. According to report, his agent is already working around the clock to make sure that they get a deal for him outside Italy. And also, according to the report, Arsenal are looking a bit promising in terms of signing him, if only they can offload Trossard before the end of the transfer deadline. Somehow it will open a space for Ademola Lookman to come in, and this is not really looking good at the moment, because even the president of Atalanta, talking about the CEO Luca Pacassi, he came out to acknowledge the fact that they had a gentleman agreement, but there's no place that we can see it. There's nothing to prove that. It's just a word of mouth, and that is why everything is looking like this at this point in time. But the point is, Ademola Lookman is back to Italy, and let's see where he goes from here. Now, getting into the camp of the B team of the Super Eagles, talking about the Chan Eagles. Finally, after something that looks like 600 years, we finally got a goal at the tournament. Yes, it was a 2-0 win against Congo. We didn't really progress to the next round, but at least we scored a goal, because it would have been a shame and an embarrassment in the record for us to go to a Chan competition and not even score a single goal. We lost our first game to Senegal by 1-0. We were humiliated in the second game against Sudan, 4-0. I was embarrassed on behalf of the Chan Eagles, because how dare you lose to Sudan 4-0? Come on, you are a Nigerian team. No disrespect to Sudanese team, but it is what it is. We lost 4-0 right there. And our last game, whether we won that game or not, we definitely were going home, because that was the end of the road. But we were able to at least get some respect to ourselves, winning 2-0 against Congo. The goals were scored by Adas Yusuf, who is or was the highest goal scorer of the MPFL last season, and of course Asikiru Alimi with a goal in that one to at least give us something to smile in that particular tournament. So the boys are back, so there's nothing to celebrate too much on that. They just won 2-0 against Congo, and that's the end of the road for the B team of the Super Eagles. Now, moving to the main team of the Super Eagles, we have a crucial window coming up, and that's talking about the World Cup qualifiers. And we know that it is a must-win game for us. All the games we are going to be playing, they are all must-win games, because we can't even afford to draw a single game if we want to play at the World Cup in 2026. It will be a shame that the Super Eagles actually missed out on 2022, and of course they also miss out on 2026. It will be a shame. So we're going to be taking on Rwanda and South Africa, and the date for the campaign is already out. According to report, the Super Eagles players are expected to report to camp on the 1st of September 2025. That's 5 days before our encounter against Rwanda at the Gospel Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. And we know that this is really very important. We must beat Rwanda before we go to South Africa to take on South Africa on the 9th of next month, talking about September. The Super Eagles are currently 4th on the table with 6 points, actually 7 points from 6 games. That is embarrassing. And we have a certain South Africa who are top of the pie right there with around 13 points. So we must win all our remaining games and expect that other teams drop points or do us a favor if we want to qualify for the World Cup. But the point is, the date for the camp is already out. 1st of September, the players are expected to arrive in camp. Now let's move over to Newcastle United, and it looks like something big is brewing right there between Isak and Newcastle United. It's no longer news that Isak said he wants to join Liverpool. He wants to move from Newcastle United, and Newcastle are saying you are not for sale. Even if we want to sell you, we want to sell you for the right price. It's looking a bit dicey at the moment. But finally, Alexander Isak came out to break the silence. He made a post on the social media. And let me just read the important part of what he wrote. In fact, the most important part of what he wrote. And he said, promises have been broken by Newcastle United and relationship can't continue. This is like the bane of whatever he wrote on that piece. So from this, it shows that an agreement was made, but Newcastle United didn't stick to that agreement. And Isak is feeling like, no, you guys have reneged on the promise or the agreement. I'm not going to play for you guys again. And this is coming just 19 days after Liverpool made their first bid of £110 million for Alexander Isak. Right there, and this standoff has continued as Isak decided not to train with Newcastle United in their preseason. He decided to do it all by himself, even traveled to Spain to train in the facility of Real Sociedad, and he didn't play in the first game of the season and not even willing to play in the next game against Liverpool in the Premier League. And coming out to break this silence, Newcastle United have also responded to this, and according to Newcastle United, they say that they are disappointed with the way Isak has conducted himself. In fact, with what they saw on the social media, they are disappointed. According to them, Isak is under a contract and there is no commitment whatsoever that was made with the club that he was going to be allowed to leave this summer. That is coming from Newcastle United. According to them, we want to keep our best players, but also understand players have their own wishes and will listen to their views. So it is becoming a bit complicated at the moment. We all know that even if you don't know, Newcastle United, for them to allow Alexander Isak to leave, they need another striker. Callum Wilson is already out, and right now they don't really have any out and out striker. Most of the strikers they wanted to get for themselves, it didn't turn out well. They went for João Pedro. He ended up joining Chelsea. They went for Ekitike. He ended up joining Liverpool. I think they also went for another striker, that's Benjamin Sesko. He ended up joining Manchester United. So they are saying, no, we cannot, since we are not getting what we want, we will not allow this one to leave. And even if we want to allow this one to leave, it must be at the right price. And they said £150 million or nothing. That is the price right now. But Isak is feeling a bit agitated, saying, we had an agreement. I wanted to leave, but you guys are not keeping to the agreement. So we keep our fingers crossed on this one and let's see how it pans out at the end of the day. But there are so many questions begging for answers. Will Liverpool bid again? It's obvious that Liverpool needs another striker, but I don't know if they want to spend around £150 million to get another striker. And what about the attitude of Alexander Isak? Don't you think Liverpool, they are going to be considering that, factoring that into whatever they want to do? What if this player comes to this club and maybe Real Madrid comes in? Won't he behave the same way? So will they bid again? And if they don't bid again, will Alexander Isak rejoin the training of Newcastle United? And what happens if the transfer doesn't happen before the deadline, which is on the 1st of September? What will happen to Isak? What will happen to Newcastle United? So we keep our fingers crossed on that one. This is actually what is emanating from there. And moving over to the PFA awards that took place last night. Congratulations to Mohamed Salah, well deserved, winning the PFA Player of the Year and becoming the first player to win it 3 times in his career. Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa also won the Young Player of the Year. And for Mohamed Salah, who is currently 33 years, is a well-deserved one because he helped Liverpool to win the Premier League last season, scoring 29 goals and of course 18 assists in that season. That is absolutely phenomenal. And taking a look at the team of the season, which is definitely dominated by Arsenal and Liverpool players, we have Marcels in goal, the goalkeeper of Nottingham Forest. He was really fantastic for them last season. They nearly got a place into the UEFA Champions League, but unfortunately it didn't work out for them, but he had a solid showing last season, so deserved to be the goalkeeper right there. And the defensive position, we have William Saliba of Arsenal, Gabriel Magalhaes of Arsenal, Virgil van Dijk of Liverpool, and of course Milos Kekes, who played for Bournemouth last season, currently a Liverpool player. So we can also say he is a Liverpool player. So Milos Kekes wraps up the defenders on the team of the season. So for the midfielders, we have Alexis McAllister of Liverpool, we have Ryan Gravenberch of Liverpool, and of course Declan Rice of Arsenal. And the forward areas, we have Mohamed Salah of Liverpool, Alexander Isak of Newcastle United, and then Chris Wood of Nottingham Forest, who have also started the season on a good note, scoring 2 goals against Brentford last weekend. I think this is a deserved team of the season. There is nothing really to contemplate on this one, and there's nothing to argue on this one. It is well deserved. And of course, moving to La Liga, for Real Madrid, they were able to get the first win of the season in the first match against Osasuna, the debut of Xabi Alonso as coach of the team. I think not really a very fanciful win, but at least they got the job done, getting 3 points. Kylian Mbappe with the goal from the penalty area, and I think maybe they can build on this one and see where they go from here. But I don't really know what the problem is with Rodrigo. He was on a youth substitute yesterday for Xabi Alonso, and Manchester City were actually in for a shot for him, but if only they get Savinho out of the books. And I don't know, that young man is very, very promising. Of course, he's very talented, but I don't know what the problem is. Come on, leave Real Madrid. Okay, I don't really want to make a fuss about that one. But regardless, it is what it is. These are some of the trending gist in football today. Catch me up again tomorrow. I'll be right back on NETBLASTER Daily to feed you in on the trends in the world of football. Don't forget to like, comment on this video, and also subscribe to this channel.